This is John Paul Rai. I'm coming to you from Tokyo, Japan. When I'm making this video now, this tweet by Laura B is maybe about a day old or so, but it's pretty important, and it looks like in these documents we've got word that the judge in the VA case, Judge Penny, does not believe a lot of the things that Amber's been claiming over the last year or so. She doesn't believe about the internet campaign against her. She finds that rather ridiculous. We'll get into that. And when you think about it, it is really kind of ridiculous that you think Johnny Depp is somehow manipulating these internet comments and controlling parts of the internet against Amber. It's honestly one of those things that's laughable more than it is frustrating. So Laura says, Johnny Depp versus Amber Heard, Fairfax. Amber is compelling lost work opportunities. She also wants proof of Depp donations to compare and contrast. These were addressed in the divorce settlement she agreed to. And also, the judge said that Johnny's evidence for donations was not relevant because it was his money, and that was money Amber was getting from him, and she promised to donate it. Let's see what we got. Mr. Depp's objections related to his defenses are appropriate. Ms. Heard served unreasonably broad and vague RFPs for all documents supporting, refuting, or otherwise relating to his affirmative defenses. Mr. Depp agrees in principle that non-privileged documents supporting his defenses may be discoverable, but Ms. Heard has failed to specifically describe identifiable categories of documents that might support Mr. Depp's defenses. Instead, she took a shortcut, making a blanket demand for everything in the world that might be deemed to relate to his defenses. Then, they go on to say that violates the requirement of Virginia and also must set forth the items to be inspected either by individual item or by category and describe each item and category with reasonable particularity. Simply put, there is no file that can be searched that contains all documents that might relate to an entire affirmative defense. Mr. Depp has agreed to produce documents in response to some requests, but subject to legitimate obligations, the requests are too broad and too vague. So if you just say something in court like, Johnny attacked me on the internet with his fans and these trolls and these people, well, that can't be examined by the court. They could look at some specific comments, but those are just people's opinions, and that's got nothing to do with Johnny Depp. So the whole thing is just on its face ridiculous. The judge knows that. I'm sure, Judge Nicol in the UK would be like, oh, Amber got attacked online. That's more evidence. And then bang down the hammer. Be like, we got this. Come on, Amber. Let's drink some coffee and play some Monopoly now that this court's over. Can't wait to see you later, hun. Alright, that was probably actually a good impression. I was going to say a bad impression, but it was probably pretty good. They also go on to call Amber's tactics tit for tat. They also, once again, say that she demanded blanket evidence, meaning she just wants one big swoop of evidence in one shot. Who knows where it comes from, what it is. She's not being specific enough in these requests to be taken seriously in a court. So please, listen up. If you're defending Amber Heard, this is the kind of stuff we expected from the UK. This is not what we got from the UK. What we got from the UK was Amber Heard's friend saying something like, oh, Johnny pushed Amber down the steps, and the judge going, oh, that's evidence, must be true, Amber Heard's friend said it. That was not a court case. So it's one of the most frustrating things that people can factually say Johnny, quote unquote, lost in the UK. He didn't actually lose. He just got told that what Amber's friends was saying was true, which isn't actually a court in any way, shape, or form. And they go on to say, Mr. Depp's charitable donations are totally irrelevant. Mr. Depp has never tied his charitable donations to this case, has never indicated that he intends to present evidence about his own donations and does not intend to do so. I love seeing court documents with that language, such as things Amber claimed are totally irrelevant. And here, they dive back into the situation that all really made us pretty frustrated with Adam Waldman, and they do actually take Adam Waldman's side because Adam Waldman's a lawyer, and what he was doing was putting out facts. He might have actually done something that was slightly off the books. I don't know the legalities of the things he tweeted out with emails and things, but the point is, I think Amber's side got it wrong about Adam Waldman, obviously. Ms. Heard also seeks privileged materials, arguing that Mr. Depp's assertion of the attorney-client privilege is incompatible with his fourth and fifth affirmative defenses to her counterclaim for defamation. Not so. Mr. Depp's fourth affirmative defense that Mr. Depp did not make the statements at issue merely points out an undisputed fact that is alleged in Ms. Heard's own counterclaim. The statements that formed the basis of her counterclaim were made by Adam Waldman, not Mr. Depp. And Mr. Depp's fifth affirmative defense is not an active defense, but merely a reservation of rights to assert hypothetical defenses related to the scope of Adam Waldman's authority. Mr. Depp is not intending to rely on privileged communications with Mr. Waldman at trial and is under no obligation to waive privilege. As for Ms. Heard's argument that it is contested that Mr. Waldman's statements attribute to Mr. Depp, that is of course true, but it does not follow from the fact that Ms. Heard is entitled to obtain privileged communications between Mr. Depp and Mr. Waldman. It is Ms. Heard's burden to establish that Mr. Waldman was acting at the behalf of Mr. Depp in making the statements in question, not Mr. Depp's burden to disprove it. And Mr. Depp is under no obligation to waive privilege merely because he disputes that Ms. Heard can carry her burden. So, they're also taking Johnny's side on this point here, and it's very nice to see them say things like it's Amber's burden to prove it. Because remember, with everything in life, the burden of proof lies with the person making the claim. And this here was a good point by Red Like Jungle. I've covered her before. I think it should be Green Like Jungle, but that's just my opinion. Beyond stalling the process and costing JD yet more time and money, I see no point in her continuing to make the bots smear campaign argument. Judge White already rejected it in its entirety. Maybe it's just a PR move at this point. Yeah, I mean, she might convince some idiots on Twitter or something like that, or some kids, that Johnny Depp's got this bot movement. So it could just be about reputation online. Just to add, Waldman has been permabanned from Twitter. He's not been able to post anything for many months, even had he wanted to do so, yet the support for JD continues unabated. How does she square that with her arguments? And I like this little meme here, too vague and broad, which is obviously a main point. I'm not the best at court documents, but this is obviously the point to take home. We don't really need so much more to take from this than the court thinks what Amber's asking and has been asking is too vague and broad. So that's about it for this one. Like I said, really glad to see some superior common sense in the courts. Let me say a few things about the channel. First off, shout out to Carla Ellis, Cindy Bryden, and Lotus Flower. Always sending me some great stuff, but not this. I think I got this one myself. Also, I got a GoFundMe and a PayPal if you want to donate. Links are below. Saving up for a new PC. Not the most important thing in history, but it lets us get the word out. Stuff we think is important, like this here. If you're not subscribed, consider it. If you consider it and still don't subscribe, well, I guess I'll be sad, but I'll get over it. See you next time.